What is going on here? Right. Do, 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 do. Okay. And I think we are live. Let me just give people a moment to come in. I think we are live. What is going on? What is good? Happy Friday. Welcome to Life After 40 with me, MJ. Lovely to see you. Well, I'm not going to see you, but you can see me. As per usual, let me know if you can hear and see me. Let me know. Going live on TikTok as well, man. Going live on TikTok. We go live wherever we can, wherever we can get it, wherever we can push this information out. Do you know what I'm saying? Wherever we can push it out, man. Happy Friday. I know some people have an issue with me saying Happy Friday. Some people have an issue with the term Happy Friday in general. It's just a thing that's ingrained in my mind. Every time, you go to work, Happy Friday, in the Friday meetings. So yeah. But people, welcome. Let me see. Welcome, Kev Reed. What is going on? Jeffrey, let me know if you can hear me and see me. We are on YouTube. We are live on YouTube and on TikTok. I see a Figure Vault has joined. Invite British. What is good? Yeah, people get in, man. Get in. Let me welcome, man. Welcome to the community. Welcome to this live. Um uh Alevoy Dema. So if I butchered your name. I'm good, man. It's Friday, it's good. It's okay. I can't complain. Listen, man, I've just driven for my mum's and seen a couple of cars broken down on the motorway. My next door neighbor smashed his car. He accelerated instead of braking and went into the back of a Range Rover. So my day could be us. You know what I'm saying? When you see things like that, you have to give thanks, man, because you think you're having a bad day, and you see other people, you're like, whoa, it could be a lot worse. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever been stuck on the motorway. All my drivers out there, let me know, man. I've been stuck on the motorway. I've broken down the motorway, so it can happen. John Paul Harrington, what is good, man? What is good? Good to see you. With everybody going. Not sure the turnout today. It's a Friday, but boy, you know what I mean. The show must go on. It's going to be a very good show today. We're going to have a guest coming on in about 5 minutes, Alice. So yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, let me just in the meantime, we just do the warmer teas and you know what I mean. Let me find out how your week's gone. How's your Friday been? How's your whole week been? How's that work life been? How's that 9 to 5 grind working for a manager you probably don't really get on with? Trying to keep your job, trying to survive, going into the office, hoping this isn't the day where I get that meeting from HR and it's the end because how do I pay my bills? And at the same time, yeah, hating what you do. There's so many people like that. I see so many people like that. It's crazy. Um, what's going on? A Crystal Leon, I think if I said your name right, area on T. We're gonna have a guest on YouTube. I hope you're gonna be able to hear her. You should be able to hear her, man. The speakers are all up. So when she comes on, hopefully on the TikTok, you'll be able to hear her. Um, Benjamin, what is good? What is good? Sorry, Malcolm, what is good? And Benjamin, how's your week's been? How's your week's been, man? It's sometimes it's a tough week for a lot of people. I know Friday's a bit iffy as well with the way the work ends and some people work late. You know what I mean? This is why one of the reasons why I want to do a topic like this. Today's topic is why any of us feel on edge. And I feel it. I see it. It's funny enough actually. I was going to the gym. What was it? Was it Wednesday? During this week, and I saw someone that recognized me from YouTube. So what's going on? Chopping it up, and he was just telling me, man, how like he feels what a lot of people feel and scared to say. When you just feel like it's a struggle when you wake up and you just feel, oh my god, like how can I get through the day? I feel traumatized. I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle when I wake up. Like how can I can't even sleep. There's so many things running in my mind. I have this anxiety that I never used to have, and all these sort of things, all these feelings, the stress, the anxiety, fear, worry, anger as well. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I'm noticing so many people have that. And you know, sometimes when you do videos and stuff like that, that's when you kind of find out so many people are feeling how you feel. But I think a lot of us feel like we're the only ones. We're in our own sort of echo chamber, our own sort of world where we think we're the only ones suffering from it. But man, you check, go online, see, there's people post about it, there people do videos about it in a comment section. It's this nagging feeling. It's this feeling of dread, feeling like you've done things wrong. And with this life, it's interesting because you don't get a manual for it. That's what I keep saying. You don't get like this is how I navigate being a man or a woman or a father, a mother, a child, or something, whatever. This is how I navigate it. There ain't no manual for it, man. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the scary thing about this. Malcolm Malone, you've been hibernating for 2 weeks. You've been hibernating. You know what? In the winter, man, you know what? I actually believe in the winter we're supposed to be like that. We're supposed to hibernate. We're supposed to be like, it's so crazy and cold out there, and the weather's rainy and it's bad and it's dark and dreary. I think a lot of us are supposed to be hibernating, and I think obviously we have to do this 9 to 5 work and things like this. But I think the life is supposed to be like, I believe things like shops are closed, places aren't as open as they usually are. We're more internal, have our cup of soup or soup in general, staying indoors, all that kind of stuff. I believe that's how we're supposed to be in the winter times, man. I don't believe it's supposed to be trekking out in these conditions. Like animals, animals hibernate. My hamsters, I used to have hamsters, man. They used to hibernate all the time in the winter. And I obviously get jealous of them. Imagine being jealous of a hamster. I used to go to work and see the hamster, man. I think, boy, life's kind of nice right now. You know what I mean? You're caged up, but are we caged up? You know what I'm saying? Um, Anne says, I'm literally living for the weekend, but can hardly enjoy it because I feel burnout from the week. Work is supposed to fund my life, but it's hard to strike a balance due to the nature of my job. What do you do? I love to know, what do you do? What kind of job do you do? Um, I like your sense of humor in your vlogs, man. I originally come from Poland, and I agree with you 100%. Oh, what's going on? Okay, Poland, man. That's cool. That's cool, man. Um, Quiet and boring January blues. Yeah. That's the thing, man. It's the winter. I'm not a winter person. I'm not a say, oh, I'm a summer. I'm a winter. I like the winter time. I never liked the winter time. Never liked it. I'm a summer person, man. When the sun's out, you're vibing, you're enjoying life. That's me. That's why I'm at my, you know what I mean, my comfort zone. Do you know what I'm saying? Um, oh, sorry, I forgot rid of your. That's why I feel the new year begins in spring. That is when everything comes to life again. Yeah, true that, man. True that. I believe the same thing. What's going on? Bobby Chance, D Zanzan. Um, yeah, what is good? Rob S. Lozy, man. Leave comments and I can try and read your comments out. What's good? What's good? Let me just roll that to the bottom. And you do social work. Oh man, I've heard that's quite hard actually. That's quite a tough job to do. In about 2 minutes, we will be joined by our guest, which is exciting for me to have her on the show, man. Alice, but we're going to introductions once she's joined. But she's gonna join here to try and help us navigate through this because I feel what you people feel. I feel the nervous tension, the dread. I feel like your mind is just kind of like racing all over the place, which is why a lot of people, struggle to sleep a lot of the times because their mind is just racing because they're thinking so much. Your body's clenched, you know, you know what I mean, and it's just like, oh, just this feeling of dread. And like that comment earlier I read out, it's like you have this feeling like, I don't know, you're just not in the right place. Oh, don't let me. Oh, what is going on? Let me just try and. Hello. Scene. Alice, are you there?
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I have to navigate the technology. Do you know what I mean? The
I
split
know.
screen on this It takes me a while, Alice. It takes me a while. But welcome. How are you doing? How's things? How's your day?
Everything's going good. Yeah,
Cool.
feeling relaxed, calm nervous system.
Cool, cool, cool. But let me do an introduction to you, man. So, for those who don't know, Alice is a nervous system led yoga and Pilates coach who helps high achieving people strive for their purpose and works with stress, being overwhelmed, helps with clarity, confidence, ease. And I think you talk about on your platforms that you had your own issues that you had to sort of self heal and work through. So you've got experience working on yourself and mending yourself. So yeah, it's really good to have you on the show, man. And I would say the first time I was aware of you was on social media. There was this video you had where it's like you had this jug of water and then you was like pouring the water into the jug. I think it's overflowing. You know
Yeah,
that video? You know
yeah,
which
our
one I'm talking
brains
about?
getting flooded with stuff. Our brains were never meant to cope with this much stuff that we've got coming towards us these days, and
Yeah,
it does have an effect on us.
yeah. I think it does. And when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, that's how I feel. That there's so much information, so many issues, and you try to internally deal with it. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on there. I don't think the whole, you believe it, you can achieve it if you just, you just hope your problems will go away. It will just go and you'll be self healed. I think you really need to understand yourself. And I think there's a lack of that. There's like a lack of understanding of how your mind will, how your body works. And I think if you get like in charge of that and get control of these sort of things, then maybe that could help you just learn about how you work, how you can regulate yourself. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's ongoing work. It's because we've got so much stuff coming towards us that's shifting us into our flight and fight mode. Um, Yeah, so it's a challenge in this modern day to stay calm. You know,
Mm,
um, yeah, we're spending so much time stuck in fight and flight, getting a little bit stuck there, and it's becoming our baseline.
yeah, yeah.
Can you hear a little feedback there? Because I've got some earphones. Is that going to be better?
Um, yeah, so a bit of feedback, a tiny bit of feedback. Nothing. I thought that was just my ears, man. But yeah, you know what? If you're saying that, then yeah, it might be. It might be a bit of feedback. So
As
yeah,
long
maybe
as it's
try.
not coming through on the channel, okay.
Yeah, chat. Let me know if you can hear both of us. Okay. Let me know if you can hear both of us. So let me just I just want to like set a scene, like to bring you into it, set of a feeling that I've had, and like I've said before on this channel, like a lot of the comments I see people have the same thing. Because when I sometimes have issues, if I wake up, I kind of feel like I'm behind in life. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's like being on the social media or just seeing certain people or just thinking that you're supposed to hit a certain target and then you're not there. So sometimes I wake up and a lot of people do wake up and have that feeling of, I haven't achieved what I need to achieve. And then you
Mhm.
get days when you wake up and you don't feel anything. You feel numb. And I don't have that so much, but I know there's a few people that have that kind of numb feelings where you kind of don't feel anything at all. I don't know if that's due to maybe stress or just the burnout way of things where you just like overstimulated or over just worked and you just kind of shut down. But I have these sort of feelings. So I really wanted maybe we could sort of speak about the day-to-day issues that we have and like yeah ways in which you how you approach it and how you sort of like see it.
Yeah, well, it's a proven fact that first thing in the morning, our brains they start to think negatively, so we can begin to talk a little harshly to ourselves. Have you heard about the inner critic before?
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah,
of
I
like
have.
negative self-talk, and sometimes you can wake up and think, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that yesterday. I need to do this today," and perhaps you felt like you didn't perform very well. Um, yeah, so there's that we've got initially, and we kind of hit the ground running as well. So there's a lot of stuff that we're expected to do in our daily lives that's an unnatural way of living. If you think about our ancestors, They went out, they hunted for food, and that was a big kind of issue to get food on the table each day. But then they came back, they sat around a campfire, they shared stories, they sang songs, and they huddled together. They had that community, went to sleep, and then got up the next day. And life was very simple. And we've still got the same brains as what our ancestors had, yet we've got all these devices, 5 or 6 of these each day. We've got social media, everybody comparing with everybody else. We've got the news, this programming that's constantly telling us there's going to be a war tomorrow and we've got to get digital ID, all this kind of oppression that's coming down on us. So we're getting into that fight and flight as soon as we kind of wake up in the morning and shifting into that nervous system, which is an unhealthy place to live. It's not healthy for us.
Yeah. And do you? What question? With the work that you do you see a lot of people that you find are on edge, and do they open up about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of people on edge. It's because fight or flight, that nervous system has become kind of like a baseline for them to live their lives.
Yeah.
And they're holding on to a lot of tension in the body. So
Yeah.
if you think about when we shifted into that nervous system, when our ancestors did, it was perhaps because an animal was chasing them. So they would move into this kind of brace position. So when you're in a brace position, you're kind of protecting your organs and your shoulders go up and forward and you get quite tense. And this is the kind of posture that a lot of us are adapting. I mean, you'll see it when you look at people in the supermarket. Sometimes their shoulders are forward, they're
Yeah.
very tense, and this has become their baseline for their posture because they're kind of bracing for the next threat that's coming towards them. I'm going to try.
Right. Oh, so I've got a question. So what about posture when you sit down working? Like, because my posture is, yeah, I have issues with my posture. I'm always like, hence like this, arch, looking at my laptop when I work and things like that. Is that got anything to do with that? Is that unrelated?
Um, well, I mean, our lifestyles at the moment, we're doing a lot of driving and we're working on laptops a lot. So we are kind of moving into this kind of position.
Yeah.
If you could bring a few stretches into your day, um, if you think about where your shoulders are going, they're going up and forward. Think about taking your shoulders back and down,
Okay.
creating that space between your earlobe and your shoulder.
Okay. Okay.
And you'll feel yourself broaden across the chest. And then,
Hold on. Let me try it. So wait, back like this, and then
yes,
down.
put yourself up nice and straight there.
Yeah.
And take your shoulders down and back.
Okay, like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But in a kind of releasing kind of way, not forcing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Think about rising up through the crown of the head and rounding down through your sit bones,
Right.
perhaps your navel towards your spine a little bit.
Okay. Okay. I think with me, I think the problem I'd have is remembering to do that. I'd have to remember, like, catch myself. Oh yeah, let me get stand up straight. There needs to be like a way I can remember that. That's quite a good.
Yeah.
That's quite a good like technique. But it feels so alien to me because I just don't. My posture's been,
Mhm.
yeah. I think it's my, yeah, definitely my day to day working life, being in the office. I think that I don't think that's natural, to be honest with you, like working behind in the desk for those amount of hours. And what I used to do as well, I used to get up and take walks, and then I used to get questioned like, "Oh, you going up again?" Like weird comments, like, "Okay,
Mhm.
you're trying to say, I need a break. I need to walk around. I need to just
Yeah.
stretch my body. So I'm in
Another
that.
great stretch is if you take your hands up and then bring, it's called cactus arms. So you're actually bringing your elbows down so they're level with your shoulders.
Right?
And
Yeah.
then take your elbows back and look up to the sky, and you're opening up like your throat chakra, your chest, taking the elbows back and down. And it can feel quite alien if you've been in this position for a long time. But if you do a few of those stretches, it can feel like a relief. You just feel like you've got this space across the front of your body and the front of your chest and your throat. Yeah, just stretching out this area, becoming very.
And what chakra is that? What chakra is the
That's
throat?
your throat chakra, and all of our throat chakras are a little bit squashed at the moment, anyway. So
Yeah.
get open.
So these, what you teach, these positions and things like this, is this the best way to like open up these chakras? Is that what you reckon?
Well, there's a type of yoga called Kundalini yoga, which focuses on chakras. They're energy systems, and when you talk to people about it, they can think you've lost the plot a little bit, and it's a little bit woohoo.
Yeah.
But if you think about, if you feel something in your gut, it's kind of like your solar plexus. It's an energy center, and it's a proven fact that there's lots of nerve endings around these energy centers. You feel something in your chest, in your heart,
Yeah.
when things arise in life. So there's a lot to be said about it, and there's a method of yoga, and these are the practices that work with the chakras that will focus on your root chakra and then work your way slowly up your body so that you feel grounded and balanced, chakra balance in its called. So one of the main things for a steady root chakra would be a roof over your head, basic needs, water, shelter. And with the price of housing at the moment and the challenges people have got to actually get a roof over their head,
Yeah.
it's leaving their root chakra out of balance because it's a basic need for us human beings, and it's becoming more out of our reach. And this kind of stuff leaves us feeling a bit dysregulated and unbalanced.
So wait, I've got a question on that. So you're saying if you own your own place or rent your own place,
Mm.
so what about if you stay with like someone, you stay with your mum or things like that? Does that not work?
Well, yeah, because your nervous system will feel safe. You've got a roof over the head, and it's a secure roof. Um,
Okay.
but if you've been trying to buy a house, I mean, it happened to me a few years back. I was trying to buy a house, and I kept getting knocked back, moving back to my mum and dad's, moving to another flat to save. And in the end, I managed to buy a house, but it it really did knock me about, just trying to get a roof over my head, which is one of our basic needs.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, buying a house for a lot of people now is just like, phew, that's just not even in the, that's not in sight right now.
Yeah.
Um, things have changed. One thing I want to ask you, when, you like when you go into the office, when you speak to someone and they say, how are you? And you say you're fine, but you're not really fine. It's just like something you need to say. It's like a prerequisite that you have to say that. But
Mm.
what is happening to your body when you're kind of lying to yourself when you're not fine, but you're saying you're fine?
Yeah, people kind of say on autopilot. So they're saying it, but their body doesn't fine because they're probably a little dysregulated with the nervous system. There's too much stress coming into the body, and the body feels unsafe. So when the body's feeling unsafe, it's constantly scanning for threats that might come towards it, and that can leave us feeling stuck in that fight and flight nervous system.
Mm.
Yeah, so and there's all this comparison culture as well, so people pride themselves on looking like they're holding it all together, like they got it sorted. They might have the car on finance and stuff, and really they're thinking, "Oh, how am I gonna make the payment this month?" and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, yeah, I'm fine, I'm absolutely fine. It's that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I never forget the time I was working in where was I, in Kidzania at the time, and then I came in. I made the rookie mistake of actually being honest. So he asked me like, "Oh, how are you? Like, how are you doing?" And I wasn't in a good state at the time, man. I mean, it was issues, family issues, and I was a bit stressed, and I was just a bit worried and anxious, and I was unloaded. I was like, "Well, this is happening. Yeah, I don't know if my family's gonna be all right, and I'm not sure, and I've got issues with payments, late payments, and all that." I just unleashed it, and I remember him standing there, and when you realize, oh, I shouldn't have said that. He didn't know what to say to me. He was like, "Okay, oh right, that's not good. Oh, we'll talk about it later, man. Anyway, speak to you later." So yeah, and that whole day kind of I felt like he was avoiding me kind of time. And he never really asked me, "Am I fine?" It's like, "Hi, mate," like that. He never asked me, "How you doing?" So from then, that kind of put right. Okay, I still need to learn the nuances of work life. You need to pretend and act and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, that fakeness with it. So that really stopped me from being honest, and it just put me into a thing where I just feel I need to say what people are saying. Plus, I know, speak for men, I know a lot of men do that as well, where we kind of pretend that we're okay because I think there's this weird feeling that we have to pretend that we have to be okay for everyone to be all right. I don't know where it comes from, but I know definitely, like for a lot of men, we have this weird where we can't show certain emotions or we can't show any vulnerabilities. So we have to be a certain way. And I think that's a big issue as well because I think that is making us store a lot of sort of like bad energy or just all these emotions that are built up and then maybe that's why sometimes I don't know you just unleash it at certain moments. I'm not sure, but it's this build up that I don't think is healthy. So yeah, I see that a lot. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about stress because yeah, again, I've seen that a lot of people. Is that does that show up quite like is it obvious when it shows up the stress? Can you see it, or is it quite it show up in quieter ways?
Yeah, it shows up in a lot of different ways where you'll notice people, kind of, "Rah," they'll kind of, react rather than respond. There's no kind of checking in with that pause to see what they're gonna say is gonna land well or anything. Um, yeah, people can become quite withdrawn sometimes with stress. They can become quiet. Um, they stay in their homes, people can stay in their homes and not wanna socialise, and it can seem like they don't care about other people sometimes. They do, they're just finding it stressful interacting in daily life really because of all the stuff that's coming towards them. Perhaps they've got stuff with their jobs. We've got the rising cost of living, relationship things that go on. It's a lot to juggle, and it can manifest in lots of different ways. One of the main things is tension in the body, and that's related to the fight or flight response.
Mm,
And it's that bracing kind of like feeling, which eventually becomes like a baseline.
mm. And for you, you're quite open in regards to how you had to solve the issues you had. So, what ways did you sort of self heal? Yourself, like what techniques did you use?
Well, first thing in the morning, I started to notice where my mind was going. Have
Mm,
you heard that phrase, seize the morning, seize the day, or something like that?
yeah.
And with this content creating that we're both doing, one of my coaches said to me, become it first thing in the morning, see if you can become a creator rather than a consumer. So that doesn't have to apply to content creating. It could be jotting a few things down of what you want to do, for leisure or something later on in the day, or making, brewing a nice little cup of tea in your favorite teapot or something, just something creative rather than picking up these things and starting to scroll. And I can remember one thing that triggered me to stop was thinking to myself, if I don't get that done, or if that doesn't happen, what's the worst thing that can happen? And then I started saying it to my son when he was dashing around, I've got to do this. And I used to say, just stop for a minute. What's the worst thing that can happen if that doesn't get done? And when you kind of look at life like that, what is the worst that can happen really? You're going to have a roof over your head, nothing's going to, there's no real threat coming towards you. It's just all this stuff we feel we've got to keep up with and achieve on a daily basis.
That's why a lot of it annoys me when I see a lot of people driving and they're just driving so recklessly because they need to rush to get to work on time or to get to the appointment and just zooming past and then you talk about what's the worst that can happen, but that rushing that can cause something that could you may be if you were late if you didn't speed you may be late for your work, but if you speed and something happens like an accident that could be it. you can cause a serious like issue. Do you know what I mean? Life threatening
Yeah.
issue for you or someone else. And then you're going to be in a place of like, oh, I didn't really need to do that. It's not really that big a deal as opposed to what's happening now. So I think it is that that thing of, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? And also you touched on, oh yeah, don't be a consumer. Yeah, I need to do that because I've gone into this habit of checking my phone like when I wake up, and I need to maybe either keep the phone away from me or put it in another room. Like I use it a lot for alarms and things like this, but I do have a
Mm.
habit of going into the phone. Like as soon as I wake up, my eyes not even fully open, and I reach in like for the phone, see where that is. And I think it's like it's like an addiction, isn't it? It's like
It is, and we all do it. We all do it. So, I mean, these things are set up like slot machines, even all the different colors of the apps. It's we love it. Our brains love it.
yeah,
So, if you think about human beings, there's one main rule about us: we're always seeking pleasure, and we're always moving away from pain. And these things give us pleasure in the form of dopamine, but it's an unhealthy dopamine, and it's given us these spikes. So we get fixes of dopamine that give us these highs, but then we have these real lows as well. And it's becoming more challenging to stay at a healthy baseline for us. We've thought. So a good way of working with your dopamine levels in your brain is to get yourself out in nature. It's conversations with friends, connection. It could be something like cleaning your house, as long as you're not sort of like rushing around going, I've got to get everything clean, something therapeutic. Um, yeah, and those kind of dopamine hits that we get have become quite boring to us because, a lot of us have been brought up with gaming and these phones and everything. Um, so it's a case of training your mind to enjoy the simple things in your life,
yeah.
feel a little bit more regulated again. Yeah.
That's funny. I posted today. There's a video of a guy. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a guy in the waiting room. I think his partner's giving birth, and he's putting his Xbox in. So he's got the Xbox set up in the room where she's giving birth, not in the waiting room, in the actual surgery, in the room next to her, and he's got the Xbox with the headset and all of that while she's there giving birth. And I'm like, yeah, it's like that constant thing of we need to be stimulated. Any sort of like calmness or just waiting around, we can't do. We need to be stimulated by something or another. And I think, yeah, that does probably, I think that affects how like you watch TV or how you just do things in general. Like maybe reading or something like this. I think if it's not something that's instantly stimulating you, you kind of get bored. And it's
Mm.
like, it's not hitting the spot there. So I think, yeah, that's probably mucked up our brain. And I think that's why actually a lot of design in the design world, we've had to adjust the way we design to capture the audience quicker. Because, yeah, like we have to make things bigger, the text bolder. They need to like simplify things because the capacity of deciphering something and taking the time to do that has actually lowered. So graphic designers, yeah, we have to actually had to learn to design differently. So yeah, it's funny how these things sort of affect all these different nuances, all these different ways of our lives, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
There's something called delayed gratification. Have you heard of that before?
I have, yeah,
Yeah. So if we can delay things, say like I've got this glass of water and I'm thinking, I want a glass of water and I want it now. If I can just leave that water for a little while and
yeah,
then pick it up, you're doing something in your brain that's kind of it's nurturing for it. It's like Amazon. I mean, I've started shopping for nearly everything off it, and I can't stand it as well. I don't really want to fund it, but it just saves me going to the shop and parking and everything, and
yeah.
just it's there like the next day and easy.
I was imagining you on the phone. It's like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like purchasing this and that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's that delayed gratification. I have that a lot when if I'm buying a chocolate or something from the shops. Like I won't wait till I'm like, yeah, I've got to have that now. Like I know I've bought it, so I need to go dive into that. When I could have let it wait.
so
Yeah,
that first day when you go out shopping to the supermarket, you get home and you have a little bit of everything.
it's wild, isn't it? I wanted to ask you about functional freeze. Could
Yeah.
you explain what that is? Because I've heard of it, but I don't know what the hell it is exactly.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different to burnout. With functional freeze, people are still getting stuff done. They're still achieving. They look like they've got everything sorted on the outside, but inside they're a little bit disconnected. They're feeling flat. They've lost that connection to joy, and their baseline has become that fight or flight nervous system. It's like they're living with their foot on the accelerator, and they're not tapping into that rest and digest mode. That as soon as they wake up, they're like bang, 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 bang. I'm going to do this today, that today, that today, that, and they're probably falling asleep watching some horrific drama on the TV or whatever that's not really good for their brain, and then getting up in the morning the next day and doing exactly the same all over again. But they're kind of they're a little bit disconnected with their body, because it's impossible for us to be connected with our true core self if we're stuck in this point of always waiting for the next threat that's coming towards us. And it could be a full email box. I mean, I find messages quite challenging. And I just say to my friends, bear with me. And I do a little picture of a bear emoji, because I find it like draining to just go through messages and answer and answer. And there's just so much stuff, isn't there, that's coming towards us, and it's got us on edge, like you were saying earlier. People are a little bit on edge. Um, so yeah, if you were reaching burnout, you're more likely to have high anxiety and be lay on the sofa and not even be able to move, sort of thing. But with functional freeze, you're still getting everything done.
Okay.
But they're both stress responses.
So it's the same. So it's like you feel flat, tense. Is it the same sort of symptoms that you get from it? Is it similar to burnout?
No, a little bit different. So burnout, you're not really getting anything done. Your body's just like, I need to stop. That's it. I'm stopping.
Okay.
Functional freeze. You've trained your body to work from a baseline of being stuck in that kind of trauma response, really, because you've got fight, flight, freeze. So that would be kind of like your burnout. And then fawn. Fawn is another one as well, where we people please, which is another trauma response. So you would probably have weak boundaries, agree with something a colleague said at work just to keep the peace, to be like, and yeah, it's all these kind of like this overload of stress is taking us all away from our true authentic selves of being magnificent human beings. Really, we're not meant to be on this earth and run around in a hamster wheel at a million miles an hour and not have time for our family and not be able to buy a house and stuff like that. It's just not natural. It's not normal.
So yeah, I oh gosh, I have this issue with work that I'm going through currently, and I had it where the whole people pleasing thing where I had to challenge them, and then it took a lot because I didn't like the way I was being treated. I had to sort of fight back, and even getting the emails back from the challenges that I sent out, it was quite a, I'll see an email that I'd be like, oh gosh, I've got to read this. And then it would be like a feeling that, all right, let's go for this. I really had to say to myself that I'm doing this for me, that this is for I'm not going to be treated the way I was treated. I'm going to push back because I don't think it's right for me and I'm treated and other people. So it's fighting these, not, I don't know, I want to say conditions, but these ways we think, like, and just fighting through it for your own self-preservation. So
Mm.
I don't know how this is all. Like, how did this all happen? Like, is this natural? Is this been put on us? Is there like some mad psyop to get us to feel like this? Like, how in your do you ever think about how this started with all these things affecting us?
Well, I guess money's at the root of a lot of it, isn't it? Um, Even I caught the first part of the conversation, and you were talking about hibernating, and there is some evidence to suggest that human beings did become more of a hibernation way of living in the winter. We weren't meant
All
to
right.
like have that same pace of life.
Yeah.
There's something else you were talking about as well. It will come back to me in a minute. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, the hibernation thing came out because I always thought, like you just need to hibernate. I always thought we're supposed to do that naturally, just to hibernate and just to be in our own in the winter. Like we're not built for that. We've actually got a question here. So hi Alice, I've always wondered, are the scientific studies showing that men and women experience or response to stress differently? I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know about any particular scientific studies, but we've all got different baselines. You could have a woman that's got a high baseline of dealing with stressors that come towards her, and a man that has a lower baseline, and then vice versa, really. And I guess a lot of that could be down to, I mean, a lot of stuff happens to us when our brains are forming up until the age of like 6 and 7. And it affects us the way we carry on in our adult lives. It can be, we can move into unhealthy patterns of living because things that have happened in our childhood, because our brain is so malleable and is forming at such an early age. So that can be a contributing factor. Environment where we live. I'm not so sure that that men and women are that different. I mean, have you heard about male and female energy, feeling the feminine energy?
Well, no, no, it depends. Go more into it.
Yeah, so women now, with all this kind of equal rights stuff, which came about initially just to get a whole bunch more taxes off the female population, they've moved more into a masculine role. So they're a little bit more detached from their feminine side. And this is where you'll get the door opening and then a woman saying, "Oh, you don't open the door for me," that kind of thing. And you'll get these power women in masculine roles at work where they're marching around the office, giving out orders to men and women. And it's a little bit out of balance.
Yeah.
The ideal thing is for a man to be in touch with his feminine energy, but still hold on to that alpha male energy. And for a woman to be in touch with her feminine side, but still have boundaries. So they're male and female energies, but they're not toxic ones. They kind of flow. It's what
Okay.
makes the world go round. So yeah, I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent with that one, but I hope that a little bit of that made sense.
No, that's interesting because I'll be honest, and the issues I've had mainly with the managers, they've usually been female managers for that same reason. They seem to be more like aggressive, like more.
Yeah.
I don't know the ones that I remember. There was a terrible incident that I had with a man. I won't say the place, but she was really. It was almost like she was trying to pick on me for another reason because I think she was. Well, it was during the whole, 2020, that illness, and she was away due to she suffered from that, and she came back, and I was hiding that time, and I think she came back, and I don't think she was happy with me being there, and I get the sense that she would have employed me for whatever reason, and I just to get a constant. I don't know. I used to challenge her, and I get this constant aggressive tone. I was like, "You don't need to be like that. We're in the same place. We're working. We're trying to have the same objective here." So
Mm. So
yeah,
out of balance. But I do agree with what Pharaoh Phoenix said. Men do tend to keep things to themselves a lot more than women do. Women are much more open to voicing the way they feel about different things as opposed to men. So
I,
yeah, I get that.
yeah, I don't know. I think maybe we just feel that we need to. I'm just talking for me anyway. I feel like there's this. We need to show that everything's all right as the man. Like we need to make sure, show that we can handle it, even when we can't. Like, and it's like the swan or the duck, where it's like you've got the legs going crazy, but the body's all, everything's all calm,
Mm.
where you can see it. But in your head, you're going crazy, which is probably that could lead to a lot of more men checking out of life earlier. And that's growing as well because I think we just keep and I know I do this myself, keep a lot of stuff in, bottle a lot of stress, a lot of anguish, a lot of issues, And my partner, she can see on my face, like even the other day, like I was pissed off at something, and she saw my face, but I wouldn't have said anything. I was like, oh, I'm fine, but you can see that I can't hide these things. But yeah, I do think we need to. I think we need to work on that. Just want to say we have the phone lines open, so I'm going to open up the phone line. So you're happy with that? If anyone calls or has any question for you, aren't you? You happy with
Yeah,
that?
sure.
Calling in, yeah. So I am going to put the number there. So if you want to call in, it's 07521 398 982. So that's 07521 398 982. Sorry. So that's on the screen there. If you're on TikTok, yeah, hopefully you heard that. And yeah, you can call via phone or WhatsApp. If you've got any questions related to want to ask Alice, anything. I'd like to actually ask you, Alice, like how was you was working today, weren't you?
Well, no, I'm actually away on a little trip at the moment. So
Okay.
this behind me looks like one of those fancy kind of like Zoom backgrounds, but it's actually a painting on the wall.
Oh, I actually thought it was okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've got a friend that lives in Andorra, and I've come out to see him, but I am working. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And with your work that you do you like, how do you find you've been doing it for a long time? I imagine. How does it make you feel good knowing that you're improving people's lives? You're helping to giving them people the tools to actually figure out things in their life.
Yeah, massively. So I was on another little call before I jumped on with you in the community that I've got, the school community, and there was a guy there he's in a high up sort of position in a management role in an engineering firm, and he was basically saying that he's come to a point in his life where he's just not his true authentic self at work, and he feels like everything he was calling it corporate BS. That's what he calls his job now, corporate BS. He just doesn't resonate with it at all.
Yeah.
And I'm aiming him little tools. And the same thing happened to me when I was at work. I was kind of I was in a management role at a certain point, and I was in that climbing the ladder kind of frame of mind. And then one thing, I don't really know what it was, but I thought to myself, this is a load of bullshit. It's not what I want to do. So that's when I trimmed all of the hours down at work and retrained to be a yoga teacher. When we have these moments sometimes, and it could be midlife, and some people might call it a midlife crisis, but I think it's a bit of a midlife awakening. I think we get to a certain point where we're like, I'm not doing this bullshit anymore. It's
Mm,
not who I really am. It's not my true full self, and I want to live a little bit more authentically. That I want to be the same person when I'm at home, when I'm at work, when I'm in the store, when I'm having conversations, and have to put on this face to fit in, sort of thing. So yeah, it does. I know that we're meant for more on this earth, and we're not meant to be in these jobs where we're running around with no time for ourselves or families. So I feel like I'm doing something useful, showing people that they've got the power to take control over their life and connect, like return home to their true authentic self, who they were before all the social and cultural conditioning and all this stuff that came towards us, told us that we should live a certain way in the world when it's not supposed to be like, really.
okay, so I think there's issues with your connection. I couldn't hear the ending bit. I don't know if you've got
Okay.
issues there. You're saying something good, and then it kind of went funny.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right now, it
How,
sounds all right now.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds all right. Um, I was gonna, yeah, no, on that, yeah, we are meant for more, and that whole masking, that was tiring. Like doing that, like being this person that cares about, the shares and the fourth quarter, and we projected great growth, and the printer copy, all of that, pretending to care about that stuff. It was tiring. That's why I always wanted to take lunch breaks alone. Pain me, used to get me, it's really annoying me. It's like, oh, let's go together. I'm like, no, I'm pretending enough. Like that's my time to like get a breath and go,
Yeah.
I'll go in and go back in and pretend and be this guy. you know. And it's like, yeah, I used to get home and, woof, God, that was heavy work masking that day. Oh, let's see what it's like tomorrow. And you kind of know it's like you're there. You're like, nah, I'm not really feeling this. I remember there was one meeting in particular, and they were talking about projective growth and yeah, we want to be disruptors in this industry and doing all that chat. And then I'm just there, and everyone, and someone's talking and saying, I think this is really valuable information for us as a company, all that stuff. I'm looking around, I'm like, nah, nah, this ain't for me. I can't do this anymore. Like I can't, smiling and all that. I was like, I need to get out of it because I do think I don't know. I think we've been held back. This ain't it, man. Like
No.
how it's been structured, how this life is. You go 9 to 5 and you work until you're retired, and then those last 10, 15 years, that's your golden age to enjoy your hard work. And no, life is supposed to be enjoyed now. I'm not saying everything should be like easy, but I just feel that life should be more valued instead of like wishing the days away until you get to the weekend. And Friday after work's great, and then Saturday, then Sunday you're sad again because it might start on Monday. That keeps going. That's not for me. I was like, nah, this is wrong, man. And you got some of these people, they're high achievers, and they flaunt a lot of their wage, the amounts they get, and that's all good, but if you've got to look at your Rolex watch to see what time is lunch break, that doesn't do a lot for me. What does a lot for me is people that have their own time. They have their control of their own destiny. If they want to take a holiday, they don't have to put a request in. If they need to go see their kid in hospital because something's happened, they'll take their kid to hospital. They don't need to ask for permission. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You show me that, then I'm like, whoa, oh man, I'm envious. This is great. Don't show me, you're on 120K and you're blimming. No, man. You don't talk to your missus anymore. Your kids don't have a great relationship with you. You're stressed out. You're gambling. You're on the edge, which I see a lot of, and I've seen a lot of previously. Sorry for my mini rant there.
Mm.
I want to talk to you about mindset versus nervous system. If you can talk about that. Yeah, why doesn't mindset work when someone is highly stressed? What do you think about that?
Because they're telling themselves that they're okay and they're talking to themselves in a positive way, but their body knows that that's not true. Their body's is bracing. It's in that brace kind of like way of living because of all the stressors that are coming towards it. So you could sit there and say, I am calm, I am calm, I am calm. But if your shoulders are up and forwards like this and you're holding on to all this tension in your body, that's going to override any kind of chat that you can give yourself.
Right. So you basically, yeah, you're lying to yourself. Is that like, is that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it might give you a temporary fix. I'm not saying that it's not helpful because it is. And things like breath work and meditation are. But it's the body that's the best way to move out of these overload of stressors, these responses. Yeah,
Okay.
it's working with the body.
And with sort of positive thinking, what do you think about positive thinking? Do you think it's good? Do you think it could be harmful? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it is a good thing because back to when we were talking about the inner critic, we are quite harsh on ourselves as human beings. We're critical. Um, we can think about things that haven't happened in the future,
Hmm.
things that could happen, and we can think about things from the past that have happened. And ultimately, when we're most at peace, we're in the present. There's an old ancient proverb that says anxiety is in the future, depression is in the past, peace is in the present.
Hmm.
So, what was the question again? Gone off on a tangent and lost it.
No, just in regards to positive thinking.
Positive
Like,
thinking.
'cause some people like they say, "Oh yeah, think positively and it'll be all right." But is that the way to go in your opinion, or is it? Could it be negative? Like that was yeah.
Yeah, it's an important factor, but starting with the body is the really to move out of these responses that we've found ourselves stuck in. And it doesn't have to be like a disciplined sort of like way of shifting things, and like a hard routine that you've got to stick to a month solid to move out of these nervous responses. It's like you've had all these micro doses of stress that have pushed us into fight or flight. So we're looking for these micro doses of messages to send to the body and the brain to tell us that we're safe again. And it could be something simple like rubbing your arms, tapping your arms. This is helpful. I mean, you feel a little bit strange when you first start working with the body and doing things like this, a little bit silly sometimes. But if you do it for a couple of minutes and then you just sit in stillness, it feels quite comforting and soothing. So when we tap both sides of the body, this is good for balancing the brain. Rest here. You can bring your thumbs together and just tap here. This is something that you can use to shift out of anxiety. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
And it's
So,
the same as seeing all this
okay.
EFT stuff and tapping here with the meridians.
Okay. So we have a caller. Hold
Okay.
on. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
What do you want to? What do you have to say today?
Yeah, right. So I agree with everything this woman's saying and all the yoga practices and stuff like that. But with the rise in like AI and technology, how are people gonna stay calm when everything like our humanity is being taken away from us?
Did you hear that?
Yeah. So I love this question, by the way. Something that helped me manage things that are going on in the world today was the circle of influence. Have you heard of that? It's
I haven't heard of that, no.
okay. So if you had a piece of paper, you could draw a circle on it. That's your circle of, and then draw a little circle on the inside. Sorry, draw the circle on the inside. So the circle on the inside is your circle of influence, and that's what you've got control over. That's your family, your connections, in nature, walking, whether you're going to have a bath in the day, what you eat, all those kind of things. You've got control over those. But things like Elon Musk wanting to put chips in brains and the stuff that's coming down from the sky, and we've not really got much control over that. That's outside our circle of influence. So although we want to know about those things, and it's good in a certain respect that we do know about those things that are going on, but to spend time thinking about them is we're giving our power away, we're wasting our energy, and we want to separate
But,
ourselves a little bit from
my thing is like you can go to say like a yoga class or something like that, but you can still be surrounded by people which are negative, even though you're doing a positive thing.
yeah. Yeah, so it's important to stay in our own energy, no matter what the energy is of someone we might meet in a yoga class or on the street. And we can create like a field, a protective field around ourselves to keep our positive energy inside us and not to absorb.
Yeah, part of that. That grounding type thing.
Yeah. So grounding is one of the best ways to stay in our energy. Looking at your question that you've put here, what are subconscious mind and affirmations? This is something that I do actually work with the type of yoga that I coach. I teach other types of yoga. Have you heard of yoga nidra?
No, I haven't heard of it. No.
Okay, so this is basically just doing nothing. It's doing nothing. You lie down or you can sit down and you make sure that your back is fully supported and you drop into stillness. And we've got different brainwave states. So as I'm talking to you here, we're in a beta brainwave state. And then if I said to you, rose quartz, go and sit down over there, rest your back, rest your shoulders, then you'd move into more of an alpha brainwave state. And then if you lay down and started practicing yoga nidra, you would kind of move more into a theta brainwave state. And that's the point where we can tap into the subconscious mind. And that's a point where affirmations and positive self-talk can actually be quite healing for us, which refers back to the the other question that we were talking about. Excuse me. So yeah, I do feel like we can heal the subconscious mind with yoga nidra, because it opens a doorway to move into the subconscious mind. And 95% of our behavior, and this is a scientific fact, is subconscious, is patterns.
Okay.
Did that help at all, Rose Quartz?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So if you change yourself from within and you go into a negative situation, say, like a low
Yeah.
energy place, it won't affect you as much because people will pick up on that. You're sort of protected, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. There was something, a method that somebody explained to me. Have you ever been in a conversation and somebody is completely draining your energy? They're offloading. They're not sort of like giving you a chance to say nothing. So someone said to me, they said, imagine a box, put it in the center, allow them to offload their energy into that box, and you create this field around yourself that protects your energy. And say to them, perhaps not verbalize it audibly, but say to them, you can stay in your energy and I am staying in mine. And that kind of worked for me. Don't know
That's
what
it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Alright.
a counseling sort of method, but it did work.
We might have to try that, man. I definitely can try that in a few phone calls. Like people just like, yeah.
Some
But I hope
people
that,
don't come up for air.
yeah, I hope that helped. Hope you got something from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, no worries.
All right, then, man. Take care.
Right.
Yeah, that's good information there. I need that. I definitely need to. And I also think it's you can't, like you were saying, you can't really do anything about these outside interferences, these certain, like Elon Musk, like all these things. I mean, you can protest, you can try and push back, you can write to your local council, you can do all these things, but in the grand scheme of things, you can't really stop a lot of what's coming through. You can only sort of protect your own bubble or your own sort of your community, your family.
Yeah.
But I also think in doing that, in more people having that, I personally think that will build up a sort of a gathering of people that are sort of in the sort of right mindset of this community phase. I think maybe that is the collective that can push these things away. But I think it's that because there's so many things that are going on. There's so many, you've got people talking crazy about war, and you got all these, this nations that could be, a threat, and even in your own the country, you got all these threats and all these kind of things. There's so much news telling you to fear something else. There's always something to fear. If you rest on your laurels, don't worry, we'll put something else to you to fear. Don't worry about that. And you can't stop all of this. You can only stop by not listening to it, maybe not watching the news, maybe just being your own ecosphere, your echo chamber, or of surrounding yourself with things that are positive to your life. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's great advice, man. I think that's definitely something that I try to adopt as well. I may talk about certain things, but in all honesty, a lot of these things you can't really do against. Just be aware of them and act accordingly.
Mm. Yeah, reframing can help sometimes as well without ignoring what's going on. But I had a bit of a problem looking up in the sky and seeing all those lines all the time, and I really didn't know how to get over it. It was getting me down. And somebody said, when you look up in the sky, it was this woman that I follow online. She said, "You're not really giving Mother Nature much justice if you see it as an attack that she can't handle. So maybe you could reframe it and see Mother Nature in a positive light, that she can deal with the toxins that are being sprayed into the sky, the same as we can deal with the toxins that come towards us, foods and pesticides and all that kind of stuff, and that we've got this, aiming to reframe things. When I started to reframe things as well, things got easier.
Mm, mm. Just, I don't know if you've seen that question there. So, Alice, have you heard of "You can be in the world but not of the world"? Can you discuss? I find it helps me.
Oh, I don't really quite understand this. Can you be in the world but not of the world?
So, is it? I guess from that, maybe you can. Obviously, you're living in this world, but maybe you're not. Like, well, I think what we're talking about, like not.
Okay, like an outer kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like we're living in the middle of a sci-fi movie at the moment, doesn't it? It's
They live.
it's it's so weird, and it does make you feel like that. Um, I mean, it's isn't it weird that with everything that's happened in the last few years, that some people are still, for example, watching the news and believing in politicians and stuff, and
Yeah.
then other people, it's just like it's so clear what's going on, and but there is a divide with humanity, and it could be something that's not of this world. I think that's where you're kind of going with this question. Is that right?
Someone's put there. It might mean you don't feel part of the world, as in a strange place for many of us now.
Mm,
Yeah, it could do. I mean, yeah, I feel definitely. I feel separated from what I see now. I definitely feel
yeah.
not of it. Like I feel it's gone. I made this video, and I believe this. I do believe personally. This is going to sound wild if you haven't seen the video, but I believe the end of the world actually did occur. But like when it was like, was it the year 2000, the year 2K is the end of the world, and all this kind of these future fortune, not fortune tellers, but these seers would predict in the end of the world and all this kind of stuff. And I think maybe what they were referring to, maybe they got this information but they couldn't understand it. Maybe they meant like the end of this world, and we're entering a new phase of the world. Maybe it's like the death of the world we currently lived in, and it was like
Yeah,
we've entered a new technological transhumanism world
the
where
Great Reset.
yeah, exactly. Oh, hold on. So he's come back. The original guy with the question has come back with this. So basically, office jobs, you have to pay the bills, etc. Being in the matrix physically, but your mind doesn't have to be in the corporate matrix. Example, you don't have to fit in. You don't need. It's gone. You don't
Promotion.
need. Yeah. So that. Yeah, I think that's what we're kind of saying. Like
Mm,
we exist here, and we have to. We have to get by, isn't it? Unfortunately, we have to adhere to it in certain ways, paying bills, these kind of things. But I do feel that with being with the right people, being in communities where people think alike, people see the world for what it is. They don't believe in these music artists and these actors and these the governments and all these things. We know it's a game. We know it's a play. I think, I think being in that sort of community and seeing all this and knowing what really matters, I think that's it, isn't it? That's the key. I think that keeps you going as well. And I do feel the people that haven't, people maybe check out early. Some of them are due to things where they just feel isolated. They just feel like I can't take this anymore. It's not the place I used to know, and they feel alone. I think loneliness is a big thing. Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
not much time for any joy for us. We're all entitled to joy as human beings, but modern society doesn't allow us to connect with joy very often.
No, no, I don't think so. I know I've had you on there for a bit. Can we do 5 more minutes more?
Sure.
To rush? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because we've got so many. But there's things I want to sort of address and talk about. So, in regards to flight, and awareness, could you sort of speak about that? Because you mentioned that before.
Yeah, so they're basically trauma responses. So fight is literally what it says, that's when you feel angry and you want to lash out. Flight is when you would avoid something or run away. Freeze is when kind of like the deer in the headlights, just frozen still. And then fawn is the people pleasing with the lack of boundaries. And they're all nervous system responses. And sometimes when you can talk about a dysregulated nervous system, it can sound quite disempowering and like someone's lost the plot and stuff. But most of the people in this world at the moment are dysregulated because of the pressures of
Sorry
modern
to pause you
society.
there. Sorry to pause you there. We've got another call. Let's
Oh,
try.
okay.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
how's
What?
it going? You're right.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Where you calling from?
I'm in the Midlands, just outside of Northampton.
Oh, cool, man. Cool. What do you want to say?
Well, you just touched, I think, on a really interesting point, and I think there's a lot to say, especially with how people are so, I think, so downtrodden at the moment. It isn't just a subsection of society. It isn't just people that are right on the bottom rung that are suffering. I think they're suffering right from the bottom, right the way up. Because number one, I don't think any of us really are living the lives that we should be living as humans. Ultimately, however long we've been on this planet, which I'm convinced we don't know the full extent of, that, the same modern civilizations, we can only really go back 10,000 years, but there's evidence to go back 100,000 years. It's just not accepted. But we're trying to override human instinct and what we've done since however long we've been on this planet for in a very short amount of time. We look at from the Middle Ages to the Dark Ages to the Industrial Revolution, everything changed all of a sudden. It changed a dime. Suddenly we were told, bam, you've got to work. And you've not only have you got to work, but you're going to work for the amount of time we tell you to work. And you're now being fit inside of a box, fit inside of a system. Yeah. And I think society, the world, Western society specifically, I suppose, we've struggled to adapt to that, and we've done it. And now everything is switching on a dime yet again, and we're right in the sort of the precipice now of a completely new age of humanity. Something the other caller picked up on was like the advent of AI, the advent of essentially us as general humans rather than 1% elites or all the rest of them having access to these kinds of technologies. Everyone's got a smartphone, so you can see everyone and you can see what people are doing. And more importantly, you can be told exactly what to think and how to feel. It's all changing so fast. And you said something earlier about, talking about the good old days. Well, they were the good old days, where we weren't connected to phones. And yes, there was still propaganda, there was still rubbish going on, and there was, we're still trying to live in this system, but the thumb is being pressed down, I think, harder than it really ever has been now. And it's I actually spoke about this earlier to someone at work, that I do genuinely feel as if the jail walls, the jail has been built for us, and we're in the cell, and that door is closing, and it's closing really fast. And I think unless something really changes, a complete shift, which I think a lot of people, and myself included, I don't know whether or not I've even got the stones to be able to actually make that change, because I think that change involves realistically completely destroying this system, which number one, I don't believe most people have got the appetite for it, because it involves a lot of suffering. A lot of people would die. And also, I don't know if it's actually too late to actually prevent anything that's going forward. We as a general populace have not got access, especially in the UK. If we decided that we were going to march on Westminster tomorrow, we were going to out the politicians, which would only solve us a minor problem. And we were going to, let's say, for example, that the politicians were the people that actually run this country, and the MPs in Westminster, and we were going to march down and oust them.
that's already a massive uphill battle that I don't know if we're even capable of being able to do.
I think, like you said, I don't think we've got the stones for that. I don't see people having the fight for what that could bring, just with the nature of people. I don't know. Plus, I don't think they are the people running. They're perceived as running the show, but I think there's things behind that. I think there's the strings being pulled behind them.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's become more obvious now, and this is the other thing that I wanted to say. I think it's become more obvious now than it ever has been that the people that are put in front of us, that are the quote unquote leaders, the Donald Trumps, the Keir Starmers, all the rest of these people, they absolutely have no power whatsoever, and they are running off a script. And I think that's so obvious. I think people are miserable because all of the enjoyments that they used to have, that we used to have even 20, 30 years ago, we would never have assumed that people like, I don't know, let's pick a couple of names out of the hat, people like Kevin Spacey, Tom Hanks, and other celebrities that we used to love watching their films or TV shows. We'd never have assumed that they were paedophiles flying to islands.
You need to change that. Don't use those wordings, man. Not on YouTube, innit? YouTube's a bit sensitive, man. A bit sensitive on that. It's yeah.
We would never have assumed that they would be up to nefarious things. We just wouldn't have thought about it. We consumed the media.
Yeah.
We loved the films, the Forrest Gumps, and we didn't think about things like that. But I do think now that people are so aware that even if they don't feel as strongly as that, they still feel like a lot of these celebrities now are crooked, which I think is the reason why the distractions are now disappearing. The go and watch the film to chill out. Oh, I don't actually want to watch a film now because I don't like these celebrities anymore because they do these things and we know about it.
Yeah.
I think the escapes, the mental escapes in terms of what was being provided and pushed towards us now are becoming less palatable. And I do think that actually the real escape and the real answer to that is to make yourself happy through like more wholesome, endeavors, like, just going out and being in nature, or rather than say, oh, I'm going to play a video game at home and jack into the matrix and play online with faceless people, I'm actually going to get together with my friends and as sad as it sounds, maybe board game or something, and actually have some social interaction in an analog setting with other humans.
I agree with that.
We're becoming so separated.
Yeah, I agree with that. We're gonna have to move on, but yeah, I agree with that. That's a brilliant call, and there's so many things that you've touched on. I wish you called earlier. There's so many things actually that we can go through just from that. But a brilliant call, man. Brilliant call.
MJ, I love what you do. Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
You too.
Yeah, that was. There's so many to unpack there. So many things. Yeah, with the whole. Everything he said, I feel, especially with the whole enjoyment of these films and shows, you kind of just, it's like the illusion's just worn off. It's like, and at the back of my mind, I don't know about you, and it's the back of my mind, I always think, what's this guy probably done that we don't know about? Do you know what I mean? And it just gives you, like watching a Will Smith film. I watch Bad Boys. I'm like, yeah, but I know what you're really about, mate. I can't even take this Mike Larry stuff seriously. Do you know what I mean? It's just always, it just ruined it for me.
I used to love Only Fools and Horses.
That's my favorite comedy. Whoa. That's my favorite comedy. What are you going to say?
So just to tap into Brian's question here.
Yeah.
He said he's new to the group. So best advice.
Let me just read it out just so, because people. So hi guys, I'm new to the group. Amazing work you do. I'm often told fake it until you make it when I struggle. What's your best advice for getting through the day when the world gets on top of you?
Yeah, so this is a rubbish place to be, really. You just don't feel like you want to do anything. But one of the best things you can do is just a little bit of movement. Like I was saying earlier on, we're looking to send messages to the brain and the body to let it know that it's safe. So it could be something like this. Okay, it can be just a few little twists on your chair, a few little stretches, aim to release a little bit of tension, and to become present, because our mind will run away with us and take us into the future, things that haven't happened yet, will take us into the past. And when we're finding it challenging just getting through the day, we're probably not present. So when you're present, you find a lot of that stuff will fall away. I mean, John Paul Harrington's on the call, isn't he? He's probably heard of Eckhart Tolle. Have you heard of Eckhart Tolle? Yeah, it's very much about being present. So I wonder if we could do a little kind of like check-in while we're on the call now,
Yeah.
and just show you what it sort of. Some of you might resonate with what we're doing, and some of you might not. You might not feel anything at all. But it's this way of, they call it, tapping into presence, tapping into stillness, where you feel like you're safe in your own body. So it's best if you can find a little bit of support for your back, so that you can feel some support on your back and feel the ground underneath your feet if you can do. And then you just take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, make the exhalation just a little longer. You can close your eyes if that feels good. And typical areas where we can hold on to tension is between the eyebrows. So we're looking to soften all of the muscles that surround the eyes, all the muscles at the back of the eyes and the forehead. Looking to soften into the jaw. We're moving down the body towards the shoulders, so we're letting the shoulders soften. Relaxing the chest, the belly at the front body. Relaxing the back. And just tuning into the present moment, just taking a few breaths. Nothing needs to change. Everything is just how it should be. You've got a deep sense of compassion and acceptance for yourself, just doing nothing at all. Feeling that deep sense of value just as you are. Just take one more breath here. Deep inhale. And exhale. And then gently blink your eyes open.
That's nice. I actually opened my eyes before that, sorry, but yeah, that was relaxing. I was feeling a bit too relaxed. I was thinking, oh, this is something I need to. So when's the best times to practice something like this, actually?
Well, you can do it anytime. You could do it when you're in the supermarket and everyone's going crazy around you. Perhaps not close your eyes.
Yeah.
Put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. That's another good way to ground yourself.
Okay.
Spending time in nature is brilliant. Get out in nature as much as possible. Sometimes when I'm having moments like the last question said, I'll just go outside and I'll look into the sky. Even if sometimes you don't feel like going out for a walk, but we've got to look at ourselves like plants. We're complicated plants. We need that sunlight. We need the hydration. And even that in itself, going outside, can connect you with the sky, the earth, feeling your feet on the ground.
Right, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Alice, I'm just aware of the time, so and there's questions coming in, but we'd have to maybe do another part to this because I've really enjoyed this.
Me too.
I'm aware of time, so we'll have to wrap up. But people, thank you for joining in. Thanks for all the comments, Alice. You've been amazing. Where can they find us?
I'm on all the socials: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Alice.lee.whitfield.
Okay, and I've left the link as well to the description box in this video live. So if anyone wants to get in contact with Alice, find out about the ways in which you can regulate your body and things like this, contact her. Again, the details to a page are in the description box to this video. So yeah, people, I'm so glad that you came to the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned. I definitely did. As per usual, give me the HBO special. Help a brother out. Comment, like, and subscribe. Give Alice the HBS special. Help her sister out. I got contacted and finding out what she does and improving your life, man. Remember, I do videos every Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. Also, I've got socials going on, so check out Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. not LinkedIn. There's nothing on LinkedIn. TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. That's, to be honest. Actually, I need to speak about LinkedIn. I'm getting fed up with LinkedIn, but I don't even want to. That's a whole video, which I'll probably do actually, because LinkedIn has turned into something else. But yeah, check me out on the socials as well. I've got the Patreon if you want to find videos that you won't find on YouTube that are a bit spicy. They're kind of like what our last caller was talking about. Yeah, more stuff in regards to that. Then check out the Patreon. And yeah, Alice, again, we'll have to do this again. But thank you so much
Thanks.
for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure. People, have a good rest of the weekend as well. Alice, have a great weekend. And yeah, we will see you soon. Take care. Peace.